It's an odd pursuit we chase. We dedicate our days to fixing what's inside us, acting as though we're inherently flawed, constantly refining the facade we present to everyone else. But pause and examine the truly remarkable icons from the past, those who truly transformed the world, who truly embraced existence, and you'll spot an intriguing truth. Each one was fractured, all of them shattered in their own unique fashion, and it wasn't in spite of those fractures that they rose to greatness. It was precisely because music of them. This idea challenges every lesson we've absorbed, right? We're conditioned to conceal our injuries, to mask our blemishes, to act as if we're perfectly composed. Yet suppose I revealed that your deepest fractures, the aspects you hide in shame, are exactly what the cosmos requires from you. Imagine if that rift in your essence isn't a defect, but a deliberate design. Allow me to clarify one key point right away. When I refer to fractured, I don't mean the reckless or negligent type, or someone who weaponizes their suffering as a justification. Music. No, I mean the individual who's teetered on the brink, who's peered into the abyss of their inner self and returned shaking. I mean the one who truly comprehends music, that they're not independent, that navigating this journey of living demands more than solitary effort. These are the souls the cosmos selects, not due to frailty, but because they're alert. You see, the cosmos has little room, music, for the self-reliant hero. That type who parades about, convinced he hoisted himself up single-handedly, who credits his triumphs solely to his own grit. He's a sealed-off music entity. No room exists for something larger to flow through him, since he's overflowing with ego. But the fractured soul, the shattered one, they possess fissures, and via those fissures, illumination seeps inside. Consider water briefly. A flawlessly airtight vessel repels it entirely, yet with even the smallest breach, water infiltrates. It trickles in. It occupies the void. That's the essence of mercy. That's how the force of being itself operates. It can't penetrate without an entry point, and fractures, music, forge those entry points. Now, grasp this crucial distinction. Music, being fractured, differs from being ruined. A vessel with a fissure can still contain liquid. A pane with a notch can still admit rays. Indeed, on occasion, that notch produces the most stunning refractions when sunlight strikes it perfectly. Your fractures function similarly. They don't bar you from life's purposes, they prepare you for them. Survey the profound spiritual leaders across eras. Music tradition holds that Moses struggled with stuttering. He could hardly articulate words. Still, he was selected to channel divine words to his music nation. How paradoxical. The cosmos chooses an orator-challenged figure, music, to convey history's pivotal revelation. Why? Moses understood he couldn't manage solo. He recognized his need for aid. Music. He acknowledged his limitations, and through that awareness he transformed into an ideal conduit. Or reflect on David, a diminutive herder ignored by his kin, deemed too immature, too frail, music too trivial. Yet it was this very David, this societal outcast, who ascended to legendary royalty. For David always recalled music his origins. He never overlooked his humility. Even crowned, he viewed himself as merely a humble shepherd elevated by cosmic favor. The motif repeats endlessly once you seek it. Paul, the esteemed emissary, was once a persecutor. He pursued and ended the lives of the very followers he'd eventually defend. Music. Picture that burden? The realization that you'd obliterated the existence of those you now uplift. And music, still, that exact remorse, that sharp recognition of his potential for harm, rendered him an exceptional guide. Music. He grasped that redemption stemmed not from his virtue, but from a force transcending him. Music. This is the shift that fractures bring. You shed the delusion of mastery. You see you're not directing the narrative. So many navigate existence convinced they're at the helm, that with sufficient toil, strategy, and virtue, all will align. But the fractured individual sees through that. They've witnessed how swiftly stability crumbles. They've sensed the earth shift underfoot, and in that harrowing instant of descent, they acquire a wisdom the secure never grasp. They discover how to surrender music to what supports them. That's why the cosmos favors the fractured. They've mastered release. They've learned to yield to existence instead of clutching it desperately. Music. Ever attempted to bob in a pool? Tense your muscles, micromanage each motion, and you plunge. But ease in, confide in the liquid, and it buoys you. Existence mirrors this precisely. The fractured have mastered buoyancy. Now let me share what true harm isn't defined by the incident itself. It's not the dependency, the mistreatment, the setback, or the bereavement. Those are simply occurrences. The real wound forms within your core. It emerges when you finally concede that those occurrences have reshaped you, that you're no longer the individual you once were, and that reverting to your previous self is impossible. This confession, this recognition of transformation, is what opens the fissure, allowing illumination to seep in. Most folks, when calamity strikes, pour all their effort into reclaiming their old routine. They yearn to reclaim their prior identity. Yet the wounded individual understands there's no reversal. The former self has vanished. In that vacated space, something fresh can emerge, something unimaginable beforehand. This isn't mere healing, it's metamorphosis, and metamorphosis is precisely what the cosmos pursues. Isn't it intriguing how those untouched by breakage often struggle most with existence? They're fragile. When hardship arrives, they fracture because they have never mastered adaptability. But someone already fractured, already twisted, possesses resilience. They flow alongside life's shifts instead of clashing against them. They're akin to aged timber that has endured countless tempests, sturdy not from stiffness, but from knowing how to yield. Let me share what unfolds when you embrace your wounds. You gain humility. You see you're not the lead actor. You're not even the producer. You're merely a minor role in a vast spectacle. And this insight, rather than disheartening, proves profoundly freeing. Because realizing you're not the controller lets you cease the futile battle to orchestrate every detail. You can halt the draining pursuit of dictating every result. You can just fulfill your role and allow the remainder to evolve naturally. This echoes the ancient Chinese notion of wu wei, effortless striving, not idleness but action without tension, labor without coercion. Music. And you can only achieve this after being grounded by your own boundaries. Music. The arrogant individual, convinced of their flawless assembly, is perpetually in conflict, battling conditions, clashing with others, warring against existence. They're locked in endless opposition. But opposition drains the spirit. The wounded soul has discovered resistance is pointless, not in defeatist despair, music, but in profound acceptance. They've mastered collaborating with life instead of defying it. Music. Another shift occurs amid your wounds. You cultivate empathy, genuine empathy, not the superficial sort that gazes down pityingly, but the type that mirrors your own image in every encounter because you grasp the agony of striving, stumbling, and hitting rock bottom. You understand the desperation for aid, and this awareness softens your approach to others in ways the unscathed could never match. Those, largely spared from true agony, often condemn the afflicted. Music. They wonder, quote out. But the wounded knows complexity rules. They recognize that intensified effort can sometimes worsen matters. At times you must cease the struggle and merely yield. Music. And this wisdom, forged in lived trials, equips them to support others in manners the secure could never fathom. Music. Now, let's clarify what wounds aren't. They're no justification, not a rationale for surrender, drowning in remorse, or mistreating those around you. If your scars have bred bitterness, grudge, music, or harshness, you've overlooked the insight. You've internalized or externalized your anguish as toxin instead of letting it fracture you toward openness. The divide between the soul the cosmos can employ and the one it can't lies, music, here. One views their wounds and laments, quote 1:1. The other examines their wounds and ponders, quote 2. Both bear scars, yet only one attains insight. I cherish a tale about a fellow who consults a sage. He declares, quote 3. The sage replies, quote 4. The fellow puzzles. The sage elaborates, quote 5. This captures my point. The cosmos selects the scarred. It's not seeking the shattered and thinking, I'll utilize them. It's that fractured state sets the stage for a higher force to move through you. It's similar to a seed splitting apart before it sprouts into a full-grown plant. The one that remains whole, tightly enclosed, flawless in its dormant form, simply won't develop. And what arises from that fissure isn't a flawless version of the previous self. It's a completely fresh entity, something that lingered within you all along, unable to surface because the outer layer was too rigid. With that barrier now breached, it can at last break free. Allow me to share what I've noticed. Those who transformed the world were never the lucky ones with smooth paths. They were the fighters who battled hardships, who stumbled repeatedly, who rose again so often they forgot the tally. Why is that? Because adversity imparts lessons that ease can never deliver. It reveals your inner strength beyond what you imagined. It proves you can endure what once seemed fatal. It shows that there's a force within or beyond you that's bigger than your situation. And the wondrous aspect? Once this sinks deep into your core, you gain a fearlessness. Not the kind where dread never strikes, but the kind where you understand fear as merely an emotion, one that fades. Music. You realize that even in catastrophe, you'll pull through, since you've already weathered horrors or approximations of them. And you're standing strong today. This is the profound truth about those who'd have been scarred. They're liberated to gamble boldly, liberated to voice honesty, liberated to love fully without restraint, music, since restraint offers no real shield. Pause and reflect on this. Whom would you prefer to draw wisdom from? A person untouched by defeat, who aced every endeavor, spared from true agony, or one who crashed spectacularly, grappled with hopelessness, and dragged themselves from the brink? The former might lecture on triumphs, but the latter speaks of existence itself. The cosmos selects the scarred because they possess insights the cushioned lack. They've been forged in flames, the trivial has been scorched off. What's left is vital, authentic, genuine. And that's precisely what the cosmos requires. Not flawless individuals, music, but authentic ones. Now, things turn truly captivating. When you embrace your fractures, when you cease concealing them, repairing them, or acting as if they don't exist, a wondrous shift occurs. Music. Folks around you, they spot snorts it and see echoes of their own struggles in yours. Your scars turn into a pathway, helping others move from solitude toward music unity. After all, every soul bears some mark, every person conceals injuries, yet when you reveal yours openly, you empower them to unveil theirs. That's where recovery begins, not by feigning completeness, but by owning your imperfections. Music. Not by displaying an impeccable facade, but by bearing your marks. Music, your readiness to expose fragility, to be truly observed, clears throat in your flaws. This invites their openness as well. And through that shared rawness, something profound unfolds. Music bonds, genuine, profound human bonds. The cosmos doesn't pick the scarred music for its purposes in spite of their scars. It chooses them on account music of them, for scars foster modesty. Modesty fosters receptivity. Receptivity fosters room. And within that room, a greater presence can operate. Name it divinity, name it the cosmos, name it the vitality of existence. No matter the label, it demands openness to act, and fractures provide exactly that. So if you're there pondering, I'm far too shattered to contribute, too marred to count, I've erred beyond repair. Hear this, you're just the sort the cosmos seeks. Your fractures aren't flaws, they're assets. Your scars aren't barriers to entry, they're your qualifications. Your injuries aren't hidden shames. They're emblems of endurance that declare, quote, ektas. The cosmos craves no more ideals. It yearns for more genuineness. It seeks no more composed facades. It seeks music, more souls ready to shatter and reassemble into something novel. It desires no more feigned resilience. It desires more who acknowledge their frailty and allow a mightier force to channel through. This forms the ultimate riddle. Strength reaches its pinnacle in frailty, not apart from it, but within, via, and because of it. The element you view as your downfall is your true endorsement. The injury you seek to bury is the portal for illumination. The flaw you're mortified by is the fissure where mercy seeps. So, cease the self-repairs, cease the polished presentations, cease the act of total composure. Rather, own your imperfections' damage. Own up to your fractures, confess that you require support, and right there, in that raw instant of openness, you'll uncover something extraordinary. You're far from isolated. Isolation has never touched you. The very scars you believe disqualified you are precisely what equip you for the role the cosmos has in mind. The finest carriers are those shattered and reassembled. They grasp their role as mere holders. Music, not the essence they hold. They allow illumination to flow through because of their fissures, snorts. And that glow, that strength, that mercy, it radiates even more intensely thanks to those gaps. So embrace the harm, the shattering, the splitting wide. In your fractures, permit yourself to serve, for that's your true calling. Not flawlessness, but authenticity. Not every solution, but candor toward the uncertainties. Not generating the radiance, but enabling it to beam through you. Music and your wounds, your exquisite, harrowing, invaluable wounds, they're what enable it all.